Gatsby here. Let's talk about your 30s. That magical decade where you're supposed to have your life together, but you're mostly just pretending you know what you're doing while secretly Googling, is it normal to eat cereal for dinner at 35? Here's what's interesting about humans in their 30s. You'll spend $3,000 on a couch you saw on Instagram, but you won't spend $3,000 on something that could actually change your life. You're buying the wrong stuff, and I've watched enough of you do it to know exactly what I'm talking about. As a dog, I have simple needs: food, water, a place to sleep, and occasionally I'll destroy a shoe just to keep things interesting. You know what I don't need? A $2,000 espresso machine that I'll use twice before it becomes a very expensive kitchen decoration. But humans, you're complicated. You think you need things you don't need, and you ignore things you actually do need. So today, I'm going to tell you the 7 things worth buying in your 30s. Not because they're fun, not because they'll impress anyone, but because they'll buy you freedom later. And before you ask, no, a boat is not on this list. It's never on the list. Stop asking about the boat. Let's start with the most obvious one that somehow nobody buys. Number 1, actual disability insurance. I know. Boring, not sexy, doesn't fit in your living room, can't post it on Instagram. But here's the thing. You know what's less sexy? Being 37, getting in a car accident, and realizing you can't work for 6 months and have 0 income. Humans have this adorable optimism where you think bad things only happen to other people. I'm healthy, I'm careful, I'll be fine. Sure, that's what every person who's ever been hit by a bus thought right before they were hit by a bus. Here's what most of you do instead. You'll spend $200 a month on a car payment for a vehicle you don't need, but you won't spend $50 a month on insurance that protects your ability to earn income. You're insuring the car, but not the thing that pays for the car. Make it make sense. Disability insurance replaces 60 to 70% of your income if you can't work due to injury or illness. And in your 30s, you're way more likely to be disabled for an extended period than you are to die. But everyone buys life insurance and skips disability insurance because life insurance is what you're supposed to buy. And humans love doing what they're supposed to do, even when it doesn't make sense. As a dog, if I couldn't walk, my humans would carry me. If you can't work, nobody's carrying you. They're sympathetic, sure. They'll say, "That's so terrible, I'm so sorry." And then they'll go back to their lives while you figure out how to pay rent with no income. Get the disability insurance. It costs less than your Netflix, Spotify, and Disney Plus combined. And unlike those streaming services, you'll actually be glad you have it when you need it. Moving on. Number 2, a really good mattress. Stay with me here. I know this sounds like something your mom would say, but you're going to spend roughly 1/3 of your life sleeping. That's 122,000 hours between age 30 and 60. If you sleep on a garbage mattress that costs $300 from Amazon, you're essentially choosing to suffer for 122,000 hours to save $1,500. The math is bonkers. A great mattress costs $2,000 to $3,000 and lasts 10 to 15 years. That's like $200 per year for dramatically better sleep, less back pain, and not waking up feeling like you got hit by a truck. But you know what you will spend $2,000 on? A weekend in Vegas that you'll barely remember. At least the mattress is there every night, quietly doing its job, not judging you for your life choices. Here's what I've observed. Humans will spend $50,000 on a car they drive 1 hour a day, but they won't spend $2,000 on a mattress they use 8 hours a day. You're prioritizing the thing you use 4% of your day over the thing you use 33% of your day. You're bad at math and you should feel bad. As a dog, I sleep on anything. The floor, a pile of laundry, that spot on the couch you told me not to sleep on, but I do anyway. But you know what? I don't have to go to work with back pain. You do. Get the mattress. And while we're on the subject of things you actually use every day, number 3, quality shoes. I don't have to wear shoes. It's one of the few advantages of being a dog. Well, that and I can lick myself in public and nobody calls the police. Different standards. But you're in shoes 12 to 14 hours a day, and most of you are wearing $40 disasters that are destroying your feet, your knees, your back, and your overall will to live. Here's the thing about cheap shoes. They're expensive. You'll buy a $40 pair of shoes that last 6 months, so you buy 4 pairs over 2 years. That's $160. Or you could buy one pair of $180 shoes that last 5 years, provide actual support, and don't make you look like you gave up on life. But humans love the cheap option because you think you're saving money. You're not. You're spending more money over time and ruining your body in the process. Congratulations, you played yourself. And I can already hear you, but Gatsby, I'm not on my feet all day. Really? You walk to your car, from your car to the office, around the office, to lunch, to the bathroom. You're on your feet more than you think, and those $40 shoes from Target are not helping. Quality doesn't mean expensive brand names, by the way. I'm not telling you to buy $800 designer shoes that look ridiculous and cost more than a used car. I'm telling you to buy $150 to $200 shoes that actually support your feet and last longer than a Mayfly. Your 60-year-old self will thank you when you can still walk without pain. Or you can keep buying cheap shoes and spend your retirement hobbling around like a pirate. Your choice. Number 4, professional development and skills training. This is the one that makes the most sense and the one almost nobody does. Fascinating. Here's what humans do in their 30s. You'll spend $50,000 on a wedding, $40,000 on a car, $10,000 on a vacation, but you won't spend $5,000 learning a skill that could increase your income by $20,000 per year for the rest of your career. The math is absurd. Spend $5,000 learning advanced Excel, Python, project management, whatever skill is valuable in your field. That skill increases your income by $20,000 per year. Over the next 30 years of your career, that's $600,000 in additional income. That's a 120 times return on investment. But you won't do it. You'll say, I don't have time, while spending 3 hours a day on TikTok watching someone explain why their coffee order defines their personality. You have time. You just don't want to admit it. As a dog, I learned to sit, stay, and shake in like 3 weeks. Granted, there were treats involved. But you know what? Skills training for humans also involves treats. They're called raises and promotions, but you're too busy doom scrolling to notice. And I'm not talking about going back to school for another degree. That's often a waste of time and money unless you're changing careers entirely. I'm talking about learning specific, marketable skills that make you more valuable right now. Here's the beautiful part. Most of your coworkers won't do this either. So when you do it, you're not competing with everyone. You're competing with the 5% of people who actually invest in themselves. Much better odds. But sure, buy another $3,000 couch instead. I'm sure that'll help your career. Number 5, a proper emergency fund in a high-yield savings account. I know what you're thinking. Gatsby, savings accounts aren't something you buy. Correct, but setting one up and actually funding it is an action you take with money, and most of you don't do it, so we're talking about it. Here's what most humans have for emergencies. A credit card. That's it. That's the plan. If something goes wrong, I'll just put it on the credit card and figure it out later. You know what happens when you figure it out later? You don't. You just pay 24% interest on your emergency for the next 3 years while complaining that you can't get ahead financially. The problem is you, not the economy. An emergency fund is 3 to 6 months of expenses sitting in a high-yield savings account earning 4 to 5% interest, not in a checking account earning nothing. Not in stocks that could drop 30% right when you need the money, in a boring, accessible, high-yield savings account. And yes, it's boring. Watching your emergency fund sit there doing nothing is like watching me sleep. We're both just lying there, existing. Not particularly exciting. But you know what's exciting? Having $15,000 cash when your car dies and not having to panic or go into debt. Most humans in their 30s have less than $1,000 saved for emergencies. Then your transmission goes, and suddenly you're taking out a loan at 18% interest to fix it because you spent your money on concert tickets and brunch instead of being a responsible adult. As a dog, my emergency fund is my sad face. Something goes wrong, I make the sad face, my humans fix it. Simple system. Works every time. You don't have that option. You need actual money. Build the emergency fund. It's not fun, it's not Instagram worthy, but it's the difference between a crisis being an inconvenience and a crisis being a financial catastrophe. Number 6, quality kitchen essentials. Hear me out before you dismiss this as bougie nonsense. I'm not telling you to buy a $400 knife or a $2,000 stand mixer you'll use twice. I'm telling you to buy the basic tools you need to cook actual food at home instead of spending $20 per meal on DoorDash. A decent knife, $50. A cutting board, $20. A good pan, $60. A pot, $40. These four things cost $170 total and last 10 to 15 years. That's $11 per year for the ability to cook food instead of ordering out. Now compare that to eating out or ordering delivery. Average cost per meal, $15 to $20. If you cook at home instead of ordering out just 3 times per week, you save $2,340 to $3,120 per year. That's a 15 times return on your $170 kitchen investment. But humans in their 30s love to pretend they don't have time to cook. I'm so busy, I have to order food. No, you're not. You watched 4 episodes of a TV show last night. You have time. You just don't want to admit you'd rather be entertained than financially responsible. As a dog, I eat the same thing every day and I'm fine. You could eat rice, chicken, and vegetables for a week and survive. It's not exciting, but neither is being broke because you spent $400 a week on takeout. And before you say, but Gatsby, cooking is hard. No, it's not. You're just bad at it because you never learned. YouTube exists. There are 10,000 videos showing you how to cook basic meals. Pick one, learn it, save $3,000 a year. The math doesn't care about your excuses. Number 7, therapy or professional mental health support. Yes, I'm serious, and no, I'm not going soft on you. Here's the thing about humans in their 30s. You're carrying around 30 years of emotional baggage, unprocessed trauma, anxiety about money, stress from work, relationship issues, existential dread, and a weird complex about whether you're successful enough compared to your high school classmates. And instead of dealing with any of it, you just buy stuff. You think that new car will make you feel successful. It won't. You think that luxury vacation will fix your burnout. It won't. You think that expensive watch proves you made it. It doesn't. You know what actually helps? Talking to someone who's trained to help you figure out why you're using shopping as a coping mechanism for deeper issues. Therapy costs $100 to $200 per session. That's 1 to 2 sessions per month, or $1,200 to $2,400 per year. You know what else costs $2,400 per year? The random stuff you buy to avoid dealing with your feelings. As a dog, my therapy is simpler. Something bothers me, I bark at it. Problem solved. Or I take a nap. Also, problem solved. But you're more complicated. You need to actually process your emotions instead of buying a Peloton and pretending that's the same thing. And here's the ROI nobody talks about. Fixing your relationship with money, success, and self-worth makes you better at literally everything. Better at your job, better at relationships, better at making financial decisions because you're not spending emotionally anymore. But you'll skip therapy and spend $5,000 on a vacation to clear your head, which works for exactly 3 days until you come home and realize all your problems are still there. Shocking. Get the therapy. Deal with your stuff. Stop buying things to fill the void. The void doesn't care about your purchases. So let's recap the 7 smart things to buy in your 30s. 1. Disability insurance, because bad things happen and you're not special. 2. A quality mattress, because you use it literally every day. 3. Good shoes, because your feet are attached to your body and you need that body. 4. Professional development, because learning skills pays 120 times returns. 5. Emergency fund, because credit cards aren't a financial plan. 6. Kitchen essentials, because $170 saves you $3,000 per year. 7. Therapy, because your emotional baggage is costing you money. Notice what's not on this list. A new car, designer clothes, the latest phone, a bigger TV. that boat you keep thinking about, a luxury watch, or anything else that makes you feel successful for 3 days before you remember you still have to go to work on Monday. The things on this list are boring. They're not impressive. You can't show them off at parties. Most of them, people won't even know you have them. But that's the point. The things that actually buy you freedom later aren't exciting now. They're just smart. And most of you won't buy them because you're too busy buying things that make you feel good right now. And that's fine. It's your money. Spend it however you want. Just don't be surprised when you're 55, still working, still stressed about money, wondering why you never got ahead. The answer is simple. You bought the couch instead of the disability insurance. You bought the car instead of investing in your skills. You bought stuff to impress people instead of building actual financial security. As a dog, I'm not here to judge your choices. I'm just here to point out that your choices are bad and you should feel bad about them. But if you actually buy these 7 things, if you prioritize the boring, smart purchases over the exciting, stupid ones, you'll be so far ahead of everyone else that it's not even funny. Well, it's a little funny, because everyone else is going to spend the next 30 years wondering why they're broke, while you're retiring early because you bought a good mattress and went to therapy. If this video made you realize you've been buying the wrong stuff, hit that subscribe button. I've got more uncomfortable truths about your spending habits coming your way. I'm Gatsby, and I'll see you in the next one.